what 1 Million Cups is. So today, and basically every Wednesday, we are in Cafe Commerce. Cafe Commerce is San Antonio's one-stop shop for entrepreneurship. Basically, we are a resource center for any of your entrepreneurial needs. Whether you're a 100-year-old business or a guy with an idea, dollar and a dream, we can help you figure it out. We have strategic partnerships. We're a program developed by City of San Antonio and Lift Fund. Lift Fund is the largest microlender in the U.S. We also have their Women's Business Center here, and that's a little bit of a misnomer. They don't just serve women. If you ever need help, male or female, we can help you figure that out. Business advisory services are free. We can schedule you an appointment with them. We also have 86 other resource partners, semi-governmental organizations, sole proprietors, government organizations that can help you figure out what's that next step in the process. And so entrepreneurship is not easy, but we want to make it easier. And so that's just a brief background of Cafe Commerce. And so 1 Million Cups was a program developed by the Kauffman Foundation. Kauffman Foundation is located in Kansas City. They're the largest entrepreneurship foundation in America. They're a $2 billion endowed foundation. And so they focus on entrepreneurs, but unfortunately they didn't know the entrepreneurs in their own backyard. And so they decided, you know, coffee brings people together. We can have 1 million cups of coffee. We can further the goals of entrepreneurs across America. And so they launched this program, I believe, probably 2.5 to 3 years ago. We were actually their 42nd city to launch. Now they're in almost 80 and growing still. And I believe they even are almost making a move into the international segment as well. So the basic idea here is that we have 2 presenters each week. It can be nonprofit, for-profit, again, man with a dream and an idea, all just about getting feedback. So each presenter gets 6 minutes to present their ideas, and then they get 20 minutes of Q&A from the lovely audience that we have here. And so it's not Shark Tank. I'm sure you want to pull out your wallets right now. We can have that conversation after the fact. But it's really about helping them progress, move along in their goals, what they're trying to do. And so today we have 2 great presenters, Elizabeth with the Edwards Aquifer Conservancy, and Jonathan with Simple Sizes, not the Simple Sizes. If you want to tweet, we are at 1MCSAT, or no, 1 Million Cups SAT. And then their 2 Twitter handles are at EA Conservancy and at Simple Sizes. But I'm going to give the floor over to Elizabeth with Edwards Aquifer Conservancy and hear what she has to say.
Thank you. I'm going to stand over here so the desk doesn't block me. I'm Elizabeth Woody, and I actually work for the Edwards Aquifer Authority, and we have just started the Edwards Aquifer Conservancy as the nonprofit supporting arm to the authority. So the Conservancy is all volunteer-based, so I'm here as the head volunteer for the Conservancy today. And the mission of the Conservancy is primarily to support the work and programs of the Edwards Aquifer Authority, which is to protect habitat and species, sustain agricultural practices, promote water conservation, and support the development of water management solutions within the diverse aquifer region, Edwards Aquifer region. And when I talk about the Edwards Aquifer region, I'm talking about the whole Edwards Aquifer system. Sometimes when people think about the Edwards Aquifer, they relate it to what's in their backyard, under their feet, and they don't really understand or get the idea that it's an entire system. I think it's approximately 8,800 square miles, including the drainage area, the recharge zone, and the artesian zone. And this red line out here is the jurisdictional boundaries of the Edwards Aquifer Authority. So the part that goes up to Barton Springs, that's the northern segment. So we're talking about this segment within here. So from Uvalde to Hayes County primarily. And so the EAA is funded. Some of the questions are, why does the EAA need a nonprofit? Well, the EAA is funded through aquifer management fees, and it's based on the amount of groundwater that permit holder pulls from the Edwards Aquifer. So right now, I believe it's $84 an acre foot, So if you've got, if you're a big municipality, multiply that times however much water you're pulling out. The EAA Act, which is the governing piece of legislature that controls or dictates what we do, has capped the agricultural users' fees at $2 an acre foot. So our primary source of income for the Edwards Aquifer is from municipal and industrial users. Although we have a lot of irrigation users, their level is capped at $2 an acre foot. So the Conservancy was created, and it's been kind of bubbling around. We've just kind of started getting out the last couple of months, so I'm grateful to have you all here because I'm looking forward to the questions afterwards. But the Conservancy really was primarily created to help stabilize the aquifer management fees in our region, and also to help fund important scientific studies for the benefit of our water quality and quantity, to increase the understanding and awareness of our aquifer by supporting education programs. We go out to all the schools that request a presentation within our jurisdiction. So we're out in Uvalde, Hondo, Medina, San Marcos, New Braunfels, San Antonio. And we have several education programs that are presented from ages K through 12, and then we have presentations in universities. And all of our material, all of the presentations, it's all free of charge because that's the service that we provide for one of the services we provide for our community. And then to bring awareness to conservation and innovative water-saving technologies. There has been a lot of technology that has come forth in the last, I guess, several years for water savings. Primarily, agricultural fields were watered through flood irrigation systems, which caused a lot of evaporation and a lot of water waste. So a lot of farmers and ag users have gone to the spigot system, and some of them even have the drip irrigation. And I understand there's even some aquaponics people in this audience, so that's also a good way to use less water. And just to give you an idea of the types of funding that's involved in the programs of the EAA, for a research project, the Trinity Edwards, right now they're doing a mapping program to see how those two aquifers connect, to see what the amount of recharge from the Trinity is into the Edwards. So we've got the mapping program, and then you can see, 173,000 all the way down to our public information program, and that's all the regions for 365. So the reason I'm here today, I've just got my 1 minute, so I'm going to try to wrap this up really fast. The reason I'm here today is to introduce the EAC, to talk about forming partnerships with entities. Right now, you can see our Cafe Commerce, so thank you, Cafe Commerce. We were on The One Radio last week, and we're going to be on Univision through the month of October. We're trying to get into Pechacucha, and then you can see you have your logo here, and hello, my name is here, so you can talk to me about any kind of partnering opportunities afterwards. Other ways you can get involved, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter. We have Amazon Smile, so your purchases can go towards the Conservancy, or you can just donate directly to the Conservancy. And then other ways you can get involved is we have an Aqua Smarty that we feature every Friday. And you can, I have some posters here, if you want to take them back to your office. We're asking people to just send in their ways that they conserve water, whether it's business or farm, field, and in the month of October, I want to make sure I get this in, we're doing H2 October. So we're trying to promote and feature several ways to save water, things that people haven't thought about. Everybody knows you turn your water off when you brush your teeth. So if you could take a picture of your kids, we'd love to feature kids doing something to save their planet, to save their water. And I guess I'm wrapping it up, so I'm open for any questions. If anybody, yes, sir.
You say partnerships, not sponsorships. So, let's say my company decides to partner up with the EAC. What's in it for me?
Well, that would depend on what your objective would be for us. I mean, the way that I say partnerships for that is, for instance, Cafe Commerce is a partner for us for providing us this speech. We have people who are interested in sponsoring, and so if they would underwrite a particular program or earmark some funds to go into, everything is kind of, could be tailored to what your intended audience and purpose is. If there's a match there, we're very interested in partnering and or having you sponsor an event or a project.
Are you all looking at kind of best practices with other conservation agencies or authorities, maybe not even related to water? And obviously you cover a huge region, and there are Hill Country Conservancy, and there are a lot of other groups, or even the San Pedro Creek, project to make watersheds relevant for urbanites. I mean, I think it's not always apparent that we have these natural systems within
It's not,
the cities.
because everybody historically has tended to segment off in what their particular area or interest is. As the EAA, we've tried to get out some more, and we're hoping that with the EAC that would take down a few more of those maybe perceived boundaries of region-wide partnership to try to do some things. We're talking about events because the EAC is going to sponsor an event for the 20th anniversary of the Edwards Aquifer Authority, which is 2016. So we're in kind of the planning stages of what 2016 is going to look like and how we could help the region by bringing more awareness and by bringing more support. Oh.
So what's been the biggest problem that y'all face with the Aquifer Conservancy, and how are y'all solving it?
The biggest problem is building an audience, and I say that because we're all everything is volunteer. We do have a board and bylaws, and we're an official 501c3, so you do get a tax write-off. But it's trying to get conservation and natural resource protection to be more of a mainstream without it seeming so dry, and pardon the pun, dry and scientific, or wagging your fingers, you need to do this and you need to do that. It's trying to make it part of the everyday, like the internet. We would like to be the internet of water resources. We would like to just be focused, thought of, paid attention to, and conserved. Yes, sir.
I've got lots of thoughts, but I'll be limited.
Okay. You had very good questions last week.
Let me dig a little bit deeper.
Okay.
So you say you're basically all volunteers. You have a board. Do you have an executive director at all?
We have an elected executive director.
Well, someone this is their full-time job.
No.
So that would be my first recommendation. I mean, I've worked with a lot of nonprofits in the past. They really don't get to do stuff when they're all volunteers. It's very rare the model where it's sort of all volunteer.
Yes.
That is really effective in trying to do widely the kinds of things you're trying to do. My first recommendation would be sort of internally, you're going to want to be able to have someone whose full-time job is to basically be the executive director and just marshal and sort of referee and be able to ensure that the volunteers are doing what they need to be doing, that there's a structure for volunteers to get involved in. The things like language with regards to, how is a partnership different than a regular old sponsorship is really, really critical. And that would be my first suggestion, is to find a way to have either a part-time or full-time executive director would really go a long way in moving this sort of forward. My second thought has to do with the fact that you're like all over the place. And so if you can highlight either, here's the 5 things we do as you did, and specific wins, or, we really want to focus in sort of like this area, and this is what we're asking for you to do and help in this sort of range, I think that would be really, really powerful. And then the third thing that I would suggest would be, one thing obviously you want to be doing is sort of fundraising. One thing you obviously want to be doing is sort of engagement. One thing you want to be doing is reaching out to a broad audience and constituency that you aren't currently sort of reaching. Please do something different.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is, everyone's got a gala, everyone's got a raffle, everyone, geez, just if there's something you can come up with that's really different and unique that you own,
Yes.
that I think would be, really impactful in a powerful way. Is there like a kids art competition that you run through the high school, through the elementary schools? How does the Edwards Aquifer help you save water? And you get to like post like kindergarten and first grader art on like water in the aquifer, like in the airport. Like, wouldn't that be cool, right? I mean, wouldn't that sort of get the message out? Different. Copied from other places, but different, right? So I think that I urge you and your board or your volunteers to think about sort of what are people doing, maybe not even in San Antonio, but what are people doing that looks different, so that you sort of really do stand out and get some traction.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Like you said, you're all over, but there's no windows or doors to come through.
Yeah.
My kids had to pick something about water, and they were looking at the Edwards. It was so difficult even for me. I was like, yeah, I heard about them, I heard politics, but I can't find it. And then the website is extremely difficult to use because there's fragmentation, places go in and go. And then the interactions with the people, we don't know, but nobody here can tell you, oh, you guys had a fair, you guys had this information, none at all. A friend of mine from Israel was here, and I mentioned that to him, and he says, oh, these guys aren't diapers. They don't take the water seriously. In Israel, they show you the water level, the table, all over. If there's restrictions, they get everybody involved. They have activities for people, for families that involve water recreation, rivers. They have seminars in which they go to the very basic, this is water, this is what happens with water, this is evaporated water. And families go to this place. This is like an ongoing thing. You guys are absent. You just, Edwards Aquifer, they don't know about you, but it's like the Sasquatch.
Tweet that out.
Just to tag on to that, maybe a little more positively, but yeah, the same thing. Edwards Aquifer is it's a hard thing to visualize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a really exciting way to think about our region. I think we had a better sense for what that shape looked like and what that would mean to think beyond even the San Antonio bit of it. I'm really interested in water-sensitive urban design, which is a term used in Australia to describe just different approaches to how even you retrofit spaces and places. But I think trying to help people conceptualize the aquifer as much as you can. I love that you're with Amazon already. I know I don't work for Amazon, but I'm a big fan. And I think the Smiles campaign is something that I'm seeing more not-for-profits in San Antonio use. But yeah, I mean, you're just starting out and you don't have anybody working, so it's do what you can.
Exactly. A few challenges. Yes, sir.
Elizabeth, since you're a nonprofit and presumably you'll be raising money, getting donations from corporations and other organizations in the region, you might build up a fund and think of things to do like have events and raise awareness. But since you're here in entrepreneur land, you might also consider possibly funding entrepreneurs who come up with water-saving ideas or technology. You could come back to this place or choose another venue and maybe open a competition for people to pitch those kind of ideas, or just be open to people who approach the organization and offer some sort of water-saving technology or some other
assess some of the issues going on from our government to help conserve water, because from a consumer standpoint or from a citizen standpoint, we're a small drop in the bucket compared to sometimes the waste that goes on in the governmental aspect.
Exactly.
Sometimes it seems like, I think that's the attitude that people get, is that why should I conserve water when the next street down here, the water being broken and water just running down the street?
Well, yes, the EAA, and I feel like I'm kind of bipolar talking about the EAA and the EAC a little bit, but the EAA is the governmental organization. It was created by the Texas legislature in response to the lawsuit brought on to protect the endangered species that live in Comal and San Marcos Springs. And you're absolutely right. There is a lot of times difficulty bringing things together when you get government entities or large business or whatever involved. And several years ago, I've been with the EAA now for 8 years, we were approached to put on something, to try, but as a governmental organization, we couldn't take funding for the, like we've got specific mandates and stuff. So the EAC has been kind of bubbling along and thinking about it, and everything that everybody has said here is phenomenal, and this is why I'm so grateful to be in this room, because I needed to hear this kind of feedback. Some of it is affirming that we're going in the right direction, and some of it is like, maybe you want to rethink this. But either way, I just want everybody to know. Oh, I thought my time was up. Either way, I just want everybody to know that even if you don't get your questions here, if you can talk to me afterwards and share some ideas, I would like to be able to write everything down. We are taking down some notes and getting in everybody's questions and stuff. So hopefully when and if we do have this next big thing, you will all be the first ones invited and supporting. So yes, ma'am.
Okay, so as I'm seeing your organization, you're essentially a friends organization for this governmental entity. So you need to be the face of the everyday person for what the authority is doing. So you need to, bring people in on an emotional level so that they care about it, so that the authority can say, look at all these people care, and it makes their job easier in their protective endeavors, correct?
Yes.
Similar relationship. So I used to work for the River Foundation. Mm-hmm. Similar relationship with Sarah in terms of really doing something that excites people about the aquifer is really, I like the idea of the children's art and that kind of thing. If you can focus on sort of that deep-rooted emotional part, because the authority has got the numbers and the data and the water scientists and the hydrologists and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to talk too much about that. You want people like, why do I care? And I have a bunch of ideas that I'd be happy to share with you all.
Yes.
Just curiously, what kind of relationship do y'all have with places like EcoCentro with Zach, or I don't know if the UTSA's Clean Energy Incubator is still around, but if y'all are working with them, or SARA, for instance, or any of these other kind of other major organizations that kind of focus on ecological sense.
Well, we have a very strong working relationship as the EAA with these agencies. We've sponsored a lot of their events, and we've been to a lot of education fairs and helped, as the EAA, be a partner with Sarah and SAWS in the Water Living Lesson summer educators program that was going on for, I think, 10 or 11 years. We're transitioning now from the EAC was just set up, I think, in May of this year. So we're transitioning now into trying to get the EAC as the partnering entity. And so we do have inroads, being that it was the EAA, but now we just need to kind of think about, as you were saying, how it's set up, how it's viewed, and what gets the everyday person excited. I have pens. I'm going to set them by the coffee. Please take some pens. And please take some posters. It does say EAA, but that will not always be the case. These were developed at the beginning of the year, sir.
So I have one last question.
Yes, sir.
So, in terms of this community, what can we all do for you?
Well, immediately, please just go to social media and I mean, that sounds like a very simple kind of, but we are trying to build an audience. We are trying to kind of grassroot it out. Please send in anything for H2 October. Videos of saving water, stories, kids' artwork. We are always knocking down doors trying to get people to send in their stuff. So if you could just send it in, that would be phenomenal. So thank you very much.